Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Captain Bruno. Had an old video a while back um, regarding the F-18 Hornet startup taxi and takeoff procedures. I haven't done one in a long time. It's my first video in a long time. I want to try to get actually around to recording some videos for DCS and some aircraft and everything. Some of the things that I've learned over the years, and there may be some steps that I do miss. So if anybody, see something that I missed, please let me know in the comments and everything, and that'll help me out as well. As far as DCS community, we're a great community. We always, help each other out the best we can. And there are other videos out there regarding the Hornet. There's a lot of videos. This is just my video. If you like what you like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Um, so one of the things that I do is I personally hit backspace and get rid of the stick. This allows me to see everything around the cockpit. It's not like in the Harrier where if you get rid of the stick, the throttle disappears as well. But I just personally like it without the stick showing. All right. So my last video that I did though, however, I didn't do any of the INS stuff. It was just your basic startup, uh, crank it up and get on down the road and get in the air. Um, but we're going to actually do the stored heading on this one, and we're not actually going to do the full INS. Stored heading, I think, is just faster, and a lot of people, I probably would say, probably 80% of DCS community more than likely uses stored heading if it's available in most of the aircraft. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do is you're going to come over here to this battery switch. You got to right click once, right in the middle, turn the battery on, and then you're going to focus your attention over here on the left, this APU button, and I right click that. You'll hear it winding up, and I'll go ahead and close this canopy. The canopy button is right here. Close it. So just press and hold your left click um, until you hear nothing else. Okay. So now the canopy is fully closed. We're going to draw our attention back over here. Um, Now we have this green light. All right. So once you hit this switch for the APU, the green light will show up. Okay. Not as soon as you hit it, but once the APU warms up and does this thing, the green light will show. All right. So once I do that, I will hit right click right here on engine crank. So I hit right click once and it goes to the right. You see left, right, off. Okay. So what I do is I wait for this to get up to 20 right here. All right. Now I have a key binding set up, and I'll go ahead and show you guys that real quick. Just controls. All right. So right throttle idle, and then I have left throttle idle. Okay, and off and everything. Now I'm going to show you what idle does if you're not already aware of it. All right. So now we're at 20%. Well, we're at 30 now almost. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the right engine idle, and it moves it forward, right? And then you'll see this wind up. Now, what you want to do, and I'm sorry for the shakiness, guys, it's the track R with the zoom. Sometimes it flickers out. All right, so now we're at 65, 66, give or take. Now we can go ahead and start doing our other stuff. All right, she yells at you, flight controls and everything. Okay, so what I like to do at this point, in the original tutorial, I told everybody about the bleed valve. You can do this. You don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, this bleed valve right here, this bottom knob, you just right click it. It'll complete, go all the way around from bleed air all the way back to bleed air. You don't have to, but if you want to, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to hurt anything if you do not do that. All right. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my displays. Okay. You do that by right clicking. Then you go left click for night, right click for day. And then this big old knob right here is our HUD. It's going to turn this on. So we're going to hold left click and push all the way up. You see it comes on. All right. And then I'm going to go to this middle button right here. And this is going to turn on this display right here. So the same thing like the hood, put it all the way up, and then I'll come straight down, and I'll put this by right clicking. I'll put this on REC, and you can. It's already on, or it's not on. It's off, but it's right click once is on, or right click to bypass. I always use bypass. Other people use on. Everybody's different. Just find what you like to put your countermeasures on, and that's what this does. This is your countermeasures for your chaff and flares and all that stuff. I just put it on bypass. All right. So now at this point, I will go ahead and uncage this, and I'll right click and hold, and you can move it up and down. And you know, if you got messing with your OCD like it does with me, I like it kind of almost perfect. But now it's on. All right, and then I go over here and I set my bingo. So my fuel, you see these buttons right here: mode, quantity, arrow up, down, zone, ET, all that stuff. I never use none of these except for the arrows. So I normally go about 2,000 pounds. Whoops. All right. So 2,000 pounds right there. Okay. So now we got that set up. All right. So now what I will do is I'll come down here, and you see the map. You can barely read some of this stuff. In VR, it can be a little bit tricky to read some of that. But if you hit this left row right here, square buttons, you see mode right here. Just click it once, click it twice, and it goes to that. All right. So we're at the point now. In my last video, we did not do any INS alignment. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the video, we're going to go ahead and do INS alignment using stored heading. And to do that, all you're going to do is come over here, and you're going to see sensor right here. You got your radar, and then you see this right here. It says INS. Normal, CV, ground, nav, IFA is on the other side. Now CV, right there, is used if you're on a carrier. We're not on a carrier, we're on the ground. So the same, you do the same thing either which way, except this the only thing that's different regarding if you're on the ground or on the carrier. So since we're on the ground, we're going to right click this switch to ground right here, and then we're going to focus our attention back to this middle one. We got all this right here. So all we're going to do, STD heading, all we're going to do is click that. Okay? So now, this is going to count down. And there it goes. And I think once it, I don't know exactly what the time is, but as soon as this counts down, you'll see OK written out here. And then once we get to that point, we'll update. All right, so from here, what I like to do is I'll go to menu. I click in the middle. Click your EW, which is early warning. And then you got, down here, you got this row of black buttons. Just click that far right one that says power. And that turns it on. And then click HUD. Now what HUD will do is any enemy threats, things like SA-11s, enemy fighters up in the air, you're going to see them up here and down here. So kind of give them, you know, two different locations. If you don't like it up there, just simply click this back off. And then it will no longer show up on your HUD. Okay. But I like to have mine on. Alright. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and start this left engine right here. Alright, so we're going to left click. We're going to watch this. Let it get up to 20. Hit our idle. Same thing we did right here with the throttle, with the idle buttons I showed you. I just hit the left engine one and just let it count up. Alright, and it's going to show the same number. Alright, so at this point, I go to menu on the left display. Alright, so you hit that middle button. Alright, so we're going to hit our middle buttons. We get to our support page, and over to the right, you're going to see FCS. Click that FCS button, and you're going to bring up this page. And this shows the current position of your rudder, ailerons, all that stuff. Alright, so, I'm sorry. So we still got that on. We want to go back and check our INS, right? So we're going to click our menu button. We don't want HUD. You want to click it twice. You want HSI. Once you see HSI, just click on that, and boom, there it is. All right, so it looks like our INS is actually complete. We're at OK, and all we do is go over here, and I like to click my nav. Right-click once to this. Some people use IFA. Use whatever you want. Right-click the nav, and then I'm going to put my radar in standby. All right. Now, there's still a couple other things we got to do. And at this point, we have an FCS bit over here. Okay. Now, what I like to do in my controls is FCS bit switch. All right. Default key binding is Y on the keyboard, and I'm going to show you what that does. All right. So remember that bit switch. All right, you see this switch right here? It wiggle, wiggle. Pressing it, it holds it up. All right, so remember this for a second. We're going to go over here, and we're going to click the FCS MC at the top left. Click it, and you're going to see go, go, P-bit, go, P-bit, go. So now I am pressing that bit switch. I'm going to press FCS button right here while holding the bit switch Y, or if you set a key bind. It's going to say in test, and then while it does in test, I come over here to your flaps and I right click all the way up. All right, so now while that does, once the bit test is complete, you will hear a bunch of beeps, and that will tell you go. See, now we're go. All right, so all you have to do from here is click your menu button. You can put on radar, stores, HUD, whatever you prefer. I like mine to be radar, and I normally start out with 4-bar at 40 miles, and then I'll come back over to my flaps, put them back at half. All right, so we're not quite done yet. All right, so one thing that's very, very important, all right, especially if you're doing multiplayer or anything like that, you want to click on your IFF. So in order to do that, though, you have to click IFF. You see nothing comes on. As soon as you click IFF and click on, it turns it on. All right, so if I click that radio button and I go back to IFF, you see it's displayed XP. We're good. All right, so that means our IFF is operating. Now, I want my data link on, okay? Now, I'm not going to get into what data link is. That can be in another video, or there's plenty of videos regarding data link on YouTube. We're going to just stick to what we're doing. All right, so, but same thing, click your data link. Nothing's here, so we're going to click on. Now our data link is on. All right, so those are the two main things you need before taking off. Other stuff can be done like autopilot, TACAN, you know, ILS landings, things like that. So beacons, you know, I very rarely use the other ones. All right. So now that all that is done, right? All right, we're gonna come over here. Our bit switch, or not our bit switch, but our bit's done. INS is done. We see a master caution. So we're gonna come over here to this area of your cockpit. It's gonna be your back left hip area. All right, behind the throttle, as y'all can see, we're going to click reset, and what that does, it resets the FCS that we were using to look at all our rudder information and all that stuff. So click that once, turn your OBOGs on, which is your oxygen while you're in high altitudes and stuff. Then you got your rudder trim. So click that once. I like to press and hold it for about 2 or 3 seconds. It's just me, you know. And now look. Our master caution light is gone, and our rudder stabilization is at 12, all that good stuff. All right, so now we're going to arm our ejection seat, turn our radar on right here, put it in OPR, which is operation mode, and then if you got waypoints, you just click on, let's say if you want to go to waypoint 1, for your first one, just click waypoint, put the box around it, And you see it's at 0, so you just click 1. You know, if you're going to waypoint 2, 2, 3, 4, etc. You know, so that's how you select your waypoints in the Hornet. All right. I don't think I have any waypoints set up on this mission, but I may. Can't remember actually. This is a little training thing I did for a buddy, so I'm just kind of using it. All right, so we're good to go. We don't have any weapons put on, but we're going to do that in another video as well. All right, so take off. We're going to taxi, and we're going to take our brake and release it. All righty. Now, I want y'all to also be aware, like on a carrier, or if you need to do a sharp turn in the Hornet, you got nose wheel steering right here. All right, so if I press and hold my nose wheel steering, you see it goes high. And what that does, that will allow you to turn the aircraft. Basically, while sitting still and you can make a 90-degree turn without driving around. But since we're at the ground, you don't really need it unless you're in a tight spot, or you put yourself in a tight spot on the taxiway or anything like that. But you definitely want that on the carrier. You really want that on the carrier. All right, so we're going to go ahead and taxi, and I'll show you my way of doing it. All right, so we're using our rudder, just throttling up just a little bit, you know, just to get it going at a decent speed. I can't talk, y'all. I got too much coffee in me today. So we're just gonna follow the yellow brick road, the yellow line. Okay. So we're just cruising. I personalized skin for the Hornet. And I see a curve coming up, so I'm going to throttle down a little bit, and I'm going to just kind of tap on the brakes just a tad, just to get me enough where I can turn it without, you know, flipping over, which Hornet really ain't going to tip over much unless you're going at a high rate of speed, but if you're like in the F-16 or something, I tip that thing all the time, especially when I'm not paying attention when I'm doing. Even people that play DCS for years like me, you know, we still mess up. Alright, so we're just going to come out here. The Hornet will pretty much fly itself on takeoff. You know, that's why I stress that some people may disagree with me, but I tell people all the time, you know, especially new players coming in wanting to learn a high fidelity aircraft, that the F-18 Hornet in DCS is one of the easiest to learn. It's one of the easiest to fly. And anybody new coming in DCS, I would recommend highly the Hornet as their first high fidelity aircraft. You know, that's just my opinion, though. Some people may disagree. Some people may agree. You know, it's just my opinion. All right, so normally I never stop. I just go. But for this training video, we're going to stop and explain something. All right, so we're going to look down here real quick. Make sure my aircraft stopped here. Okay. All right. Excuse me. All right, so we got our flaps right here. This is our landing gear, right? All right. So on the carrier, we would use this, but so like I said, we're on the ground. We don't need it. All right. Now, this is where you turn on your landing taxi lights. If it's dark, we would have, you know, turned those on, but it's daytime. Everybody can see us, you know. We don't need it. All right, so remember, I always put my flaps at half. I leave it right in the middle. So the only time we've touched it is during that FCS bit switch. All right, so right here, we're showing our stab at 12. All right, now let's say if we had a fully loaded aircraft, fuel tanks, weapons, you know, things like that, I would probably, I generally go up to like 15 by trimming up for that. Or or if you trim down, you know, it goes back 12, 11, whatever you want. Just find what works for you. Generally, I see about 14, 15 with the Hornet on takeoff is what I generally use. And with because normally I'll carry the Harms or Mavericks, you know, with my missile in one fuel tank. And if I don't use a fuel tank, I normally put on like Mark 8 Deuce or something. All right, so we are good to go. Final checks. I just double check everything. Radar's on. INS is on nav. Um, Take a look around. O-Bogs is on, and we're good to go. So we're going to put it at 15. All right, and we're going to go ahead and throttle all the way up. The Hornet doesn't get squirrely, really. It can. Now, I'm not touching the flight sticks. My hands are off the controls. And it takes off on its own at 15. So, now I've got my hands back on the my flight controls here. Alright. I'll look down. My landing gear goes up. And I put flaps all the way up to auto. And we are airborne. And at this point, when I'm getting ready to go into combat, I'll go ahead and put my master arm on. I'll go hit the middle button down here. I'll click menu, and I'll go to stores. And this will show your weapons, what you currently have on the Hornet. And we actually do have a waypoint actually set up. You see that little bar up here? Right there. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll rotate the stick. I'll keep it at a incline here on a 10-degree incline. So we're climbing. And you don't have to get all crazy with the stick, but I mean you can make it faster, but just remember that the harder you bank, it slows your aircraft down. So if you want to maintain speed, do a slow banking turn. Alright, so you see that little bar moving now? Now we're lined up to waypoint 1, and we are heading to our objective. And that's all it is to it. Start up, taxi, and take off on the Hornet. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If I did anything that y'all disagree with, please let me know. Or if there's something that I missed that I'm not aware of, please let me know that too, because I'm always looking forward to learning more. I learn something new in DCS almost every day with constant updates that we get. They always add new stuff in, and they change some things up all the time. Like for the Harrier example, startup procedure for that thing has changed so many times. But this is just my way. If my way works for you, give it a shot. Let me know in the comments how you like it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'll try to get some more videos up, especially for the Hornet, because I do have some friends that are still learning it, and they've asked me to help them out, so I'm going to try to help them out the best I can. So, well, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate it.